Somebody manager done screwed him out of money. Some label probably didn't pay him. At the end of the day, once you get to a certain level in this industry, everybody's talented. So the question becomes, then what? Maybe I should have had an attorney early on, but I was just green.
Welcome to the Made in the Studio podcast, where we spotlight the creatives behind your favorite songs. I'm your host, Desmond A., and today we have a special guest. Today's guest has produced records for popular recording artists such as Gotti, John Legend, VEDO, T.I., Dave East, Trippie Redd, and much, much more. It's with great pleasure that I introduce to the podcast OG, the 3. OG, thank you for joining the podcast.
Fix your boy, man. Appreciate you for having me, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, let's get it started from the top. How did you originally get into music and then eventually get into music production specifically?
I'm one of those kids that literally like music has been involved in my life probably since the day I was born. So I grew up playing drums. I was literally I think I probably started playing at like 3 or 4. And that's something I always was doing. And I still play drums to this day as well. But through playing drums, I ended up being able to tour with a couple of different artists. I've been all over the world as a touring musician, as well as getting into the production. But it started, like I said, with drums and in church as a kid. And then by the time I got to high school, I went to an arts magnet high school in Nashville. I'm from Nashville, by the way. And so from there, that's where I kind of started dabbling with learning piano and teaching myself that because everybody I was around was all like incredible at everything. So by the time I was like 17, I started messing with FL Studio. And then by 19, I got my first placement. So
Okay, so you mentioned that you got your first placement at 19. What artist was that with, and what was this kind of the story leading up to that?
cool. So the first my very first placement was with an artist named Chris Calico, and he was under the Strange Music umbrella. That's like Tech Nine, and he's like really one of the biggest independent artists, and he kind of set the blueprint for a lot of things independent artists are doing, like even today. What ended up happening was somebody I went to school with at the time. He had started like sending records to them, and he was like getting records over to him. And the funny story is my very first placement, I didn't even know I would be a music producer. I originally started working in music to be like an artist because I used to like singing and, we'd be rapping and stuff like that. So, but the situation was like for most producers, you didn't have nobody to make the records that you were trying to do or could do the sounds that I was hearing in my head. So the first beat that I placed was actually supposed to be a song for me. And me and the other guy, we like co-produced it or whatever. But fast forward last year, Apple picked up that song, so I got a sync placement with that record, and it was in a lot of the Apple Intelligence commercials last year. So yeah, it just was literally right place, right time, and that's what kind of pivoted me to understand like, okay, cool. Like I think I want to start doing more, being hands on with my music, which led to me producing.
Speaking of that, we have younger producers these days who are doing a lot of clicking and doing a lot of, just kind of chopping things up. And coming from a musical background where you can actually play instruments, what advice would you give to those producers who are just kind of clicking in music, just chopping things up? Would you recommend that they learn an instrument, or what exactly is your view on that?
Yes. And I know like I'm probably gonna get slack for this, but I just feel like, especially right now with all the stuff that's going on and the pushing of artificial intelligence and being integrated in music, like let's not forget the art and the levels that it takes to become a great. Because even at where I am in my career, it's still levels that I wish to achieve. I've done a lot of stuff and I'm grateful for it. But that's what keeps me going every day when I'm coming to the studio and working on records. Like I want to be better. I want to be better. I don't want a shortcut. Like even and I mean, and even if you take a shortcut, like let it be a strategic thing. Like I'll probably talk about it more a little later, but like I just feel like there's no reason that as a producer you shouldn't at least know all of your notes on the keyboard. If I tell you to play an F sharp, why can't you find an F sharp? It's only a handful of notes on the keyboard. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I just think there's something important about I'm not telling producers to go out and become Beethoven, you know what I'm saying? But you should have a general understanding, know some basic levels of theory, be able to communicate with other musicians because if you're a producer and you work on records like I do sometimes, where I gotta call my bass player or I gotta call my guitar player, or even I call a more advanced keyboard player. Like if I can tell them like, yo, I'm trying to figure out how to voice this chord, or if I'm telling my bass player, make sure you go to the 4 here and go to a flat 7 here, like being able to have that dialogue with musicians, it just makes your workflow easier. I just feel like it's important. And something I say too, with music, I feel like it's the only thing that we kind of try and keep chopping away and getting shortcuts in. Like, I see cats going around speed running, making beats and stuff, but I'm like, bro, y'all are speed running these records that aren't even like nothing crazy. Like, if you want to challenge yourself, go challenge yourself to learn something by ear. Learn those chords, you know what I'm saying? And I always talk about like basketball. It's like if everybody could be Steph Curry, like would Steph Curry be special? What makes Steph Curry special is the fact that he put in those hours, he put in the time, and he elevated his game to a level to where it has to be respected and it's undeniable. And I just wish people would treat music the same way.
You know, a lot of things are coming down the pipeline with AI and, AI generated music. What are some of your views on AI and music production?
So with that being said too, I will say I don't have a problem with AI. I think that there's certain laws and limitations that they're gonna have to work out, and we all seen what's happening with Suno and the Timbaland stuff and K Fresh, like we're seeing that. But I feel like it's just like anything else. Like if people felt like when the screwdriver got a power drill, like, oh, we'll never use a screwdriver again. That's not true. It's another tool that can help you, but don't let it be a crutch. That's how I feel.
With your specific music production, when I was listening, I hear a lot of variety. I don't really hear you in one specific box. It feels like you can jump through one style to another style to another style without things sounding like you're overreaching yourself. So, how exactly are you able to have a versatile sound?
I think it just comes down to like who I am as a person. And I think that's important too. Like I tell people all the time, like my core is R&B. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm an R&B baby. I love anything melodic. I love synths and all that stuff. But all of that can be bridged into every other genre. But I also, from me being a drummer, I play so many different styles of music as well. Like I said, I went to an arts magnet high school and we had to learn those Motown records. We had to learn jazz. I had to play in concert band. So my ear, I'm always down to listen to different stuff. I tell people all the time, if I put my phone on shuffle, you don't know what you're gonna hear. It could be a gospel song, it could be a trap song, it could be a rock band, it could be classical. And so it's like these are all the things that I digest. So I think when it comes to, again, it would almost have to directly go back to being in tune sonically with instruments and things of that nature, because if I only listen to rap music all the time, and not to bash rap, because like I said, I rock with rap, but if that's all I listen to, it's gonna be hard to get in a room with a country artist and know how to sonically cater to them, or any other genre, or a pop record, and all I know is 808s and fast hi-hats. So, I just always try and listen to different stuff, and I'm always inspired by everything. I listen to whatever my friends are listening to. I check playlists all the time, and whatever catches me, it just catches me. So, that's what honestly makes it easy for me to be able to, dabble in different genres.
Would you still advise producers from other smaller towns to move to larger musical cities?
Absolutely. And the main reason being is because how it was told to me when I lived in Nashville. Nashville was only like 3.5, 4 hours away from Atlanta. But I came down here and I had a meeting at Atlantic, I believe, in what was that, like 2016, 2017. And I let them hear a bunch of records. I let them see video of me on tour and things of that nature. And they was gonna try and start scheduling me sessions. And I was like, well, yeah, just let me know. Like I live in Nashville, but I can, come down here or whatever. And the VP of A&R at the time, he just told me straight up, he was like, "Man, that's not how this works." He was like, "Man, certain opportunities aren't gonna wait 4 hours for you to get here. You just kinda gotta be here." And with that, that's when I decided I was gonna move to Atlanta. But everything for me unfolded exactly how he said, like, and I never actually did work directly with Atlantic after that once I moved here, but I kinda used my social media to kinda build up, the notoriety of what I was doing. Then the next thing you know, it's like, "Yo, it's a session over here, they need somebody to play keys. Go to this session, and now I'm in this session, and now I done met this person, I done met this person." And it's like, once you've established those relationships, that can make sense to where it's like, "Okay, well, I can work remote on some of this stuff," but sometimes people need to really see you and really see you in your element to really grasp what it is that you do. So I would say 100%. Like if you can get to a bigger market, I would do it.
You definitely have quite a few different placements in your resume. So specifically for the Trippie Redd Flowers record, how exactly did that situation come to pass?
Bro, that record was so fun to work on. So basically, when I started working on the record, Bryson wasn't even involved. It was just I was working with C Gutter, and he always like me and him. We got a lot of records together, and basically we was working on the production of it, like just the music, and we didn't know who it was going to at the time. It was just as always, we just locked in working on records. And he was like, "Bro, like, this is missing something." So, I'm listening to it, and I'm like, "Man, it's so fire." And so, I started playing some piano stuff on there, and then it just stuck, and we was like, "Yo, this is fire," and, like, it worked. And so, you know how it is, anytime you work on a record, you never know what's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen. So, a little bit down the road, we was like, "Okay, we found out Trippie wants to do the record." And I was like, "Oh, dope, I'm about to have a record with Trippie Redd," you know what I'm saying? And so, after that, it was just like, okay, we wait and we wait and we wait, and then, like, he's getting ready to drop, and they're like, "Bro, Bryson's on it." I'm like, Bryson is one of my favorite artists. Again, I'm an R&B head, so by the time, the record comes out and everything, it just was kinda, like, rapid, you know what I'm saying? But it's one of those situations again where it's like my ability to be able to add value to a room or to a situation, that's how I ended up landing the placement.
Kind of piggybacking off that story, one thing that happens sometimes these days is producers will get excited that it seems like a record is about to come out. They're about to get a placement. Let's just say the artist does like an Instagram story playing their beat, and then they get super excited and let everyone know, and then the record never actually comes out. How exactly would you advise producers handle those type of situations?
It's hard, and I get it, especially when it's a situation where you're newer to the business and, you are seeing one of your favorite artists, and it's like, oh, they about to do this song, or like you said, they posted a snippet, like, that's happened to me a bunch, but, like, you just can't get too high or too low. Like, my thing I always say is I don't get high till I sign my producer agreement because I'm getting paid and it's coming out. So, and even if it don't come out, I don't care. I got paid. But, yeah, like, that's it's usually really hard to navigate, and it's hard to tell somebody not to get excited because, like I said, if this your first record and you got Ty Dolla Sign on it and you like, of course, you wanna let people know, like, we all manifest this career, like, when you become a music producer, nobody can't tell you aren't a music producer. It's just you start getting accolades to kinda build up your legacy. So, I mean, to the ones that it happens to, it's like, man, take it on the chin and keep it pushing.
The T.I. and John Legend "We Did It Big" record, how exactly did that come to happen?
Bro, funny enough, same thing, but this one was actually a little wilder. So, um, I can't remember what year it was, but whatever year that record came out, I get a call at like 2, 3 in the morning from C Gutter, and he's like, "Yo, you up?" And I'm a night owl. I'm always up. I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" He was like, "Bro, I'm about to send you this record." He was like, "Man, I need some keys." He was like, "But think like John Legend." And I was like, "Think John Legend? I don't even know what that means." Like, but I was like, "I guess I'll just try and, play some felt stuff on piano or whatever." So I did a couple takes, sent it over. And so then, like, literally, maybe like 3 days later, my manager calls me and she was like, "Yo, you got a record with T.I. and John Legend." And I was like, "Huh?" And so I thought that placement was the craziest because it's like he told me, he was like, "Think John Legend," but I'm like, the fact that I'm playing on a record with John Legend and John Legend could have easily played piano on this, like, that was just an honor to me. So, yeah, that's one situation I thought was pretty cool too.
Now, also looking in your discography, I'm noticing a lot of collaborations. Some producers really just to like to lock themselves away in a basement and just cook up beats nonstop by themselves. So, kind of give us a little bit of information on your perspective on the power of collaboration.
Man, that's easy. Collaboration is king. I have no ego when it comes to doing this stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, sure, some records you will end up doing by yourself just because it's like, hey, cool. But I feel like music is something that should be shared. And I've been doing this so long that I feel like I don't even want to do records by myself. Like, I would much rather bounce ideas off of other great creators And it's like, if we can make that happen, let's make it happen. And it's like we're stronger together. So as long as whoever you're collaborating with, like, y'all are on the same page and, y'all handle business how you supposed to, I don't think there's nothing wrong with collaboration. Like, I just worked on an R&B project that's getting ready to come out soon, and we collaborated with so many people. But it's some of the best music I feel like I've made ever. Like, we don't have an ego, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has their accolades, everybody has things they've done, but all we wanna do is make great music. So, I'm all the way for collaborations.
One thing that happens in the producer community is there'll be a lot of different producers on one record, and then one person will feel a kind of way, and then they'll start crashing out on social media and kind of calling everybody names. So, how exactly would you advise producers on really maintaining their clarity and peace of mind when there is those situations where there's arguments over percentages?
I think people just gotta be realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, and everybody doesn't do business the same way. Like, I'm sure if you collab with me and we do a record and I'm like, cool, it's just me and you, or me, you, and some musician, like, I'm always gonna be cool with split it down the middle. Like, I don't care. But if you're collaborating with some uberly over echelon producer, like, you can't really expect them to split even. I mean, of course, in a perfect world you would want them to, but they understand the power that they have, and when they press play in certain rooms, like, you're probably gonna make the play because this business is about relationships and networking. So if you just John Doe producer trying to go walk a record to Drake, probably ain't gonna hit the same as if 40 press play on a record for Drake. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take that into consideration. And I'm also just somebody that believes, like, anything else. Like, I always go back to, like, talking sports and stuff, but it's like, man, when you're a rookie in the NBA, you don't make the same as much as a max player. So you gotta earn your stripes. Like, yeah, take some of them lower situations, or where you feel like, oh man, I should have got this or this, that, and the third. Use that, build onto it, and then grow your brand to the point where you can demand what it is that you're asking for. And actually just make sure you're bringing value to what you're doing. Like, I don't think it should be a divide of like, oh, I did the drums and I did the melody, so I should get more. But if you literally just the guy that come in and do the hi hats and open hi hats, don't don't be trying to argue with the person who really crafted the record. And also, let's talk about being a producer too, and not just a beat maker, because a lot of times cats will be like, "Oh, well, I co-produced this, da 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 da," but really you just co-made the beat, and then somebody had to go produce the vocal, produce the record, get it to where it needs to be. So that has more value too, and people have to understand and be fair about that.
How exactly would you advise producers on balancing kind of being a team player versus standing up for themselves and really, demanding the percentage that they feel that they deserve?
I think it's about it's about getting reps. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be, like, crashing out and it's your first placement ever. Like, I don't think that's right. Like, I'm not gonna say what situation it was, but I've worked and collaborated with certain people, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, maybe the first 3 or 4 records we do where I'm like, "Dang, I really feel like I probably should try and push for more," but it's cool, but we still working. So now when records 6, 7, and 8 come in, I got the leverage to say, "Hey, bro," or, "Hey, we did that on this. I did my part here, but we clearly see there's a formula and it's working. Let's renegotiate. Let's do it like this." And and if that doesn't work out, be willing to walk away. Like, it's that, but you got to be able to bet on yourself and really believe in what you're doing. And so yeah, I think it's just about you got to kind of read the room. That's the best way to put it. Read the room, know who it is you're working with. And I feel like that should give you what you need. You know what I'm saying?
Getting back to your story, the VEDO record, I'm Really Him. How did that record get put together? I really like the production on that. That's really mine. I like that style of R&B. So how did that come together?
Yes, sir, man. Shout out my bros, Vontae and Akil, man. Akil, like, so they sent me the record and they was already they already had a lot of dope stuff going. And sometimes I just consider myself the closer or the cleanup guy. So, like I said, the record was already super dope. But when Vontae and Akil sent it over to me, I was like, yo, like, I like this, but I was like, I went in, I changed like some of the stuff in the bass, added some additional chords and stuff, threw some synths in there. And from there, oh, I added talk box too. That's something else I added. I just remember. So by the time we was done with that and we sent it back to VEDO, like it was a done deal. Like I said, it was really dope to work on that. And again, collaboration. It's like from that record alone, that's when I built a relationship with, like I said, my bro Vontae and my bro Akil. Like they both, like we always work on records together now. And it was just I heard the song and they was like, "Yo, send it to me," and we kind of built a relationship from there.
I also noticed that you've been working on sample packs and loop packs lately. So what's your experience been, being as a musician getting into the sample pack world?
It's been really fun. Shout out to my brother Dylan Graham because he the one that even got me hip to it. You know what I'm saying? Like me and Dylan, we, of course, we connected through social media. From there, he was just kind of showing me like his whole platform of samples and things he did, and he was like, bro, like we should do a sample pack together. And I was like, it was a challenge to me because I never done one before. So I was like, hey, let's do it. And we put it together. It took a little time, and once we put it out and I just thought it was really cool, and, we're actually getting ready to jump back into working on more samples really soon, so I'm excited about that, but I just think it's a great alternate way of bringing in income as a producer because me, I'm a music producer, but I'm also a musician, so I go on the road, I be touring, I play shows, I play drums, I do different things, so it's like everything I do, as far as finances coming in is through music, so but if you aren't of the ilk of, well, hey, I don't want to go on tour or I don't play an instrument like that to be doing shows and stuff like that, like sample packs is the way. Like so, like I said, Dylan has a incredible platform where he's doing his samples at thesamplestash.com. It's only getting better. And so like as producers in general, like it's definitely something worth looking into. And it's a good challenge to yourself too, because you got to decide like, hey, is this a sample? Or is this gonna be something that I go shop? Or do you do both, you know? So I love that part.
Now you mentioned that you're a musician and you're also a music producer. Some other producers, they're DJs and producers. Some other producers are artists and producers. So being that you wear multiple hats, how do you kind of balance everything out where you don't ignore one aspect of your creative life and have other parts suffer?
It's just about management of time because it's like if I know, let's just say for example, if I'm like, okay, I know I got a show on Saturday, like cool, we're gonna be on the road, we're going to XYZ. It's like, okay, cool. I know if I got musical things like studio wise that I need to get done, I'm just gonna make sure like cool, I'll make sure I'm doing stuff on whatever day that I don't have like a rehearsal or things of that nature. So I don't really feel I neglect it, but I'm also big on not burning myself out too. Like I only like at this stage of my career now, I only work on music when I'm motivated. If I don't feel inspired, I'm not in the studio because there's no point. Like I'm not gonna rack my brain and just feel like oh I didn't do a beat today, so I didn't do nothing. I've done the 5, 10 beats a day stuff before. Like that's cool, but I'm just more of a person now. Like I'd rather have records than beats. So that makes a difference. Being able to lock in with an artist or lock in with a writer and being able to, create songs versus just having a bunch of beats around. Because when you go to these labels or these A&Rs or whoever that you're shopping records to, if you got a song to shop, you probably got a little bit more ammo than just pulling up with a beat. Far as the balance, I think I do a pretty good job of balancing it because it's just like if I'm inspired, we locked in. If I'm not, this is what I will say. If I don't feel like feeling creative in making a record per se, I go study. I go learn more about the craft. Like I'm watching videos on how to, enhance my mixes or learning new things in whatever DAW I'm working in at the time because I've turned into a chameleon as of late. I'd be working in every DAW. I'm always bouncing around trying to learn different things and I feel like that's just as important as creating. So and that's still stretching your mind because it could be as simple as, "Oh, I just seen a video on how to make this type of texture," and now when you make the texture, that gives you the inspiration to make the record. So, that's kinda my idea of how I would balance things. I do whatever's at the front of my desk. That's the best way to put it.
Is there a bad habit or mistake that you see other producers make who struggle to balance their different roles that you would kinda wish you could advise them on?
Yeah, actually, I just was talking to a young producer maybe a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me, he was like, "Yo, I've been feeling like, I'm kinda getting burnt out, like, I don't know what I need to do," and I was like, "Well, the first thing I asked him, I was like, "Well, do you know your scales? Do you know any, like, theory stuff?" Like, and he was like, "No, I'm just, grabbing samples, but I feel like I'm just in the hamster wheel." And I was like, "Well, that's the thing because if you take the time to learn even just basic theory, I tell people that all the time, basic theory could change what you're doing because now you can start trying to put together what you're hearing in your head and transform it to your piano or, to your piano roll or whatever it is that you use. So I think that is probably the biggest thing. Like if you feel like you burnt out, like that means it's time to learn. That's what I say all the time. If you burnt, time to learn. Like so I think that's the biggest thing. And then, like you said, as far as balance, I'm in a different position than a lot of people because some people have to balance working, like, a 9 to 5 and trying to, still make music when they can. So I can't really speak to that directly. But again, it's just about like making the time where you can, but also make the time count. And I'm big on, I use my voice memos for everything on my phone. Like, if I feel like I really got beat blocked too, I just go through my phone. Like I could be anywhere and I'd be like start humming a melody and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't use this yet." You know what I'm saying? So then I'm like, "Oh, well, since I didn't use this, like I'm gonna do this melody for Talkbox so I can play this melody on keys." And now I done made another record, you know what I'm saying? So that's another thing, like whenever I'm like, feeling beat block, like you said, balancing, like I said, it's kind of a slippery slope for me because I can't speak to that directly, but I just know it works for me.
Is there something that you're hearing sonically in newer producers' beats that kind of a mistake that you're hearing that you kinda wish you could correct? And if so, kinda speak to that.
Yeah, I'm probably get heat for this too, but y'all gotta put these 808s in the right keys, man. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what y'all be doing, but some of these 808s be in the wrong key, and that's like the main thing. I because I'm all for creativity, man. Like I don't want to like try and take away from what nobody does because I probably wouldn't have my sound if somebody was nitpicking everything that I did. But just sonically, like check your 808, make sure it's in the right key. And if you're not sure, like ask somebody or look up the scale of the song that you're playing in or pitch it up because that's the thing too. Like sometimes people's monitors can't even hear. They just hear like a low rumble, but the whole time it's like a half step off. And I hear it. Like, and I'm like, nope, nope, that is wrong. That is wrong. Half step up. But other than that, I don't really hear nothing crazy that nobody's doing. Like I, I really I really kind of like a lot of the music that's out right now.
Sometimes newer producers are kind of they're in the process of finding their own sound. Some producers are in the process or at the stage where they're emulating their favorite beat makers, and some producers are in the stage where they're just kind of trying different things. So, what advice would you give to producers on actually finding and creating and developing their own particular sound so that way people will kind of look for them for their production skills?
I think to me, it's always gonna go back to the very first thing you said, emulation. You have to have somewhere to start and study and understand why certain stuff works. I have studied so many great producers and it wasn't until I kinda knew what they was doing, and then after that, once you kinda know who you like and what it is you like, you gotta get reps as like, with artists, you have to. Like, because especially if you're working with good artists, a good artist is gonna challenge you. Like, if you just making beats that just sound like Drummer Boy or if all your beats just sound like Southside, like, that's cool, and it's, like, because you're learning, but once the artist says, "Hey, I don't like when the song does this," I need the song to go here. Now that's where you grow because you like, okay, how do I meet in the middle? How do I shift this sound into what they need, but also leave what I do on it? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's how you captivate, your own sound. But you got to have reps. Like I used to always say, I love doing albums with artists because it's like you can't just make the same beat over and over. It's not gonna work. Somebody paying you to do 7 to 10 songs, you can't do the same thing for 7 to 10 songs. And then what you gonna do when you get the next project? They don't want like you gotta have a sound, but you don't gotta make the same beat over and over. Like a sound could be your sound selection. A sound could be a style that you do within your music. Like I be laughing now. Like some of my friends, they'll hear a record that I produce and they're like, bro, I knew that was you. Like I could hear the piano. I knew it was you. Or I heard that synth, like I knew it was you. Like that's a sound that I've developed, but it came from listening to all of the greats like Teddy Riley and Brian Michael Cox and all these different legends, you know what I'm saying? Now it's turned into me. I don't knock anybody that's emulating the greats because how you gonna be great?
What's one thing about music production that you know now that you wish you knew at the very beginning of your journey?
Ooh, that's a spicy question. It's gonna ruffle some feathers, but not really. I mean, because it's true at the end of the day. Like, it's the music business, and I mean, it's cliche, but it's true. Like I've made mistakes early in my career, and it's just because I didn't understand the business. I'm grateful for it at the same time because I needed those mess ups and those mistakes for me to understand, like, cool, yeah, maybe I should have had somebody look over this document. Maybe I should have had an attorney early on, but I was just green, you know what I'm saying? And it's like you kind of take it on the chin and you do what you do as you go. It's a business at the end of the day. So and you get what you negotiate. That's the real one. You negotiate, and whether that's $1 billion or whether that's $2, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you have to be okay with walking away from certain situations, like, because some stuff you'll feel like, oh, if I don't do this, I won't get this opportunity, or if I don't do this, like, I'm scared they gon' none of that matters. If you great, you can't be denied. You can be delayed, but you can't be denied. So that would probably be my thing. Just really just understanding that this is a business and learn the business. But I never want to tell people because I just seen somebody saying this too. It's like if you literally told a producer that was 17, 18 years old, like, hey, here's a book on the music business, read this and then start making music. They probably wouldn't start making music. They probably wouldn't. It's like some of the stuff along the way you just gotta bump your head a few times. The thing I would tell to myself is if I could go back and tell me, I would say, "You would really be surprised how far we came from having a broke laptop screen and one church speaker making beats on it to all the stuff that we done did and, the gear that I've accumulated over the years." And
With the balance between the music and the business, a lot of producers get into the game with like a pure heart and they just, super ambitious and trusting because they love music so much. They just want to get into it. How would you advise a producer who's dealing with the heartbreak, who kind of hit their head and are maybe even going through some type of depression due to the fact that that pure love, the pure joy of music kinda clashed against the business side of the process?
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's a part of the game. But I don't know anybody that's successful in music that can tell you, "Hey, man, I plugged in my computer into the system and everything was peachy." Nobody's gonna tell you that. Like, you can literally watch anybody's story. Like, somebody manager that screwed them out of money, some label probably didn't pay him, you know what I'm saying? Or they something went weird with their publishing, like, or they was working with a producer and the producer was taking advantage of the situation. It's gonna happen. But like you said, as far as dealing with it, you just gotta recalibrate, and you have to find like community is a word that's used a lot in music and really in everything. Like people like find your community, 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 community. But that's really a real thing. And like when you got people that really care about you, you start being in rooms that you're adding value to, and they're valuable people in the rooms too. It really is some good people in this industry. It's some vultures too. Like, like you said, if you come in bright eyed, bushy tail, they just like, oh yeah, this is great. Like, cool. We finna take all your publishing. Like, what that happens. But like I said, the thing is you truly, truly have to just find community with people that you trust and bet on yourself. Like, that's where I'm at right now. Like, I really believe in me. I believe in all of the artists and all the producers and all the writers that I work closely with. And I feel like we're making some of the best music and we gonna show a lot of people really soon. And it's like because I think what people fail to realize is when somebody becomes a celebrity or a star, they were just like regular people. Like they just had people that believed in them and they blew up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just in Nashville, last month, and I was working with Post Malone, and I was just thinking to myself, like, I grew up in Nashville, and he's built a studio that's so dope, that's on Music Row, and I'm like, "Man, I used to be right across the street from here with my homies who had a studio over there." And it's like they did all of this was built off of somebody who believed in Post and it just grew and it blew up and now it's like it's a whole thing, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, why not us? Like there's no reason, especially if you truly like, and you gotta be real with yourself too. Like just because your cousin can rap, he might not be the best rapper. Like that's just what I'm saying. So you gotta be realistic, but it's like when you know you got great pieces around you, go be great and prove it. Like I seen T-Ron Thomas, he was talking about that too. He's like, if you truly believe and truly know that you're a great writer or you're great at something, don't just try and go give a great song to Rihanna. Put your great song on anybody and let's see if it really take off. Like that's when you know. So
That kinda opens up the door to something that happens with producers and artists alike, and that's the balance between talent and grind. Some people think a lot of untalented artists get a shot or untalented producers get a shot, and they're pretty confused about that. Like, why is this person blowing up, but I have all this pure talent and I'm not blowing up? So, what's your perspective on pure talent versus grind and hustle?
talent don't mean nothing. And I hate to say it like that because I feel like I am talented, but like they say all the time, hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. And the problem is it's like people will feel because, hey, I do have this talent that they're entitled to things. Like I've literally seen people who weren't as good artists or producers outwork somebody just because they feel like, oh, I can sing or oh, I make some of the best beats, da 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 da, but you're not putting in the work. Like you're banking solely on your talent, and you can't do that because at the end of the day, once you get to a certain level in this industry, everybody's talented. So the question becomes, then what? Like, are you personable? Do people want to even be around you when you leave the room? Are people saying, "Hey, man, I wish OG was in this session," or if I'm doing this session, I gotta have OG with me. You know what I'm saying? So things like that are important. But yeah, just like a lot of times, I'm not gonna say every time, but talented people feel entitled, and that's the problem. Like, I've worked with artists who are solid. I'm not gonna say they not I'm not gonna say they bad or nothing like that, but it's like they got potential and it's like they need to shape certain stuff, but they'll come to me like, "Hey, this is my budget. This is what I wanna get done. How can I do this? What do I need to do to get better? Blah, 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 blah." Where somebody talented will be like, "Oh, well, I got 200 followers or 200,000 followers on Instagram. I got a video that's viral on TikTok right now, so you need to give me this for free." No, we're not doing that. I think a lot of times talent feels entitled and it shouldn't be that way. But the ones who are talented and work hard, they're the ones.
What's one common trait that you see of these popular, successful artists? What's that one thing that you've noticed consistently through the different artists?
All of them are super hands-on with their music. That's the thing I'll say I see, like, whether it's them writing the song or co-writing, like, they're like, "Hey, I wanna have so and so in the room." Like, I noticed that, and just, like, even just the presentation of the record, like, "Oh, well, visually, I wanna do this," or da 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 da, or if we gon' like, they want they roll out a certain way, like and they work hard, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the biggest thing, like, it's not like, "Oh, this is the song and we're done." It's like, "Yo, okay, this is the song, now we're doing post-production. Okay, in post-production, we need to do this. Okay, this is mixed version 13 because we going in and finding all these little things that we wanna make better in the record, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it's a different level of care, even just when it comes to recording a vocal, like, I've seen artists really be like, "No, I can do a better take," and in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, I thought that was it," and they like, "No," and then they actually execute a better take. So, a lot of the great artists I've seen too, even though they got engineers and stuff at their disposal, they are still hands-on with their mixes, hands-on with where they want their, let's say, pitch correction or where they want their compression levels, like, knowing those type of things and just really being locked in because it's so easy to, be lenient or lean on your engineer to do everything. Like once especially once you get to a certain level, but I love that when I'm in the room with an artist and even sometimes they might even be on some co-production stuff like, "Yo, could you play this right here?" You know what I'm saying? Because these are things that they hearing too. So I really enjoy that. And I think that's one of the traits I see a lot.
Being that you're a musician, you also find yourself in rooms with very talented producers, whether they just primarily make beats or they do a lot of vocal production. Is there one consistent kind of trait that you see in very successful music producers that you collaborate with as well?
This one might surprise you, but it's hard work. Yeah, so I mean, I see guys like even when I say like just working hard, I don't mean just like, oh, we just making beats all day long. I've been in sessions where we are working on records, they calling writers, we getting writers in while they might be on on their computer on the side while I might be playing something, and they setting up sync opportunities or setting up other sessions and things of that nature. But I think the main thing that I enjoy from being around other great producers, especially guys like super seasoned and been able to see the different eras of this industry, like learning about what their thought process is of making a hit song or what went into a hit song that they may have produced. You know what I'm saying? Like asking those type of questions and just learning about the game in that way. I think that's probably what I gained the most from being around other like great producers, like versus just seeing one thing. Because again, like we all know, like once you become one of the guys, like you could place a record on accident. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I love to see when the guys they still show up, they still work, they're still humble, they still treat everybody the same. Like those are the things that I kind of take from them because it's like it's easy for people to try and get an ego. You know, you get you a number one, you win a Grammy, da 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 da. Like you could put your nose up in the air, but it's like I've seen people do that. But I've also seen people that have won multiple times, and they'll walk in the room, and you wouldn't even know if you ain't know because they that chill, or they might be like, "Yo, y'all killing that, keep doing it." You know what I'm saying? Like just showing love. Like that's what I love to see from a lot of the other, like, big producers and stuff.
Being that you've been in the game for such a long time, you've probably seen different producers come and go, be high, and then kind of disappear. So, what's something that you can kind of sense about a producer that's going to essentially be gone? Like you're in the studio with them, but you can kind of feel something. You can sense something like this person is going to be here today and gone tomorrow.
Same thing, it's gonna come back to it, work ethic, like, you know, if you in the studio and you got 100 girls in there, you just smoking and drinking, you ain't really paying attention, you ain't you know, you really not, like, locked in with whoever the artist you might be working with, your personality, like, you super ego and talking crazy to your engineer and stuff like that, like, those are things because it's like you said, when you hot, you can do what you want, but it's like when you gotta reinvent yourself, like that's gonna humble you. If you wasn't good to people when you was up, don't expect people to be good to you when you're not. You know what I'm saying? That's probably the thing. And just again, I just always try and treat everybody with respect and love, you know, regardless of where you are, because it's like, man, you never know. Like anytime I'm working with an engineer, I always tell them, I'm like, bro, thank you. Cause I know sometimes I can get passionate about what I'm hearing or what I want, but I'm never disrespectful. I'm just like, yo, like I really hear this, or can we do this? You know what I'm saying? And I get it. So I think that's the thing. And also, for lack of a better term, if you just a one trick pony, it's gonna be hard. Like if all you do is one beat over and over, like, yeah, you can get that same beat to all these different artists and it'll be cool on them. But again, what happens when the sound shifts? And now we don't want to hear that no more. What else you got? When the "what else you got" comes in, that's when it's like, "What you gonna do?" And if you don't have the musical fortitude or the ability to reinvent yourself or to step outside the box and do something different for real, that's where it's like, "You here today, gone tomorrow."
Where do you kind of envision yourself in the next 5 to 10 years in the music game?
I still wanna be producing. I still wanna be making records. I wanna, of course, work with more artists. I wanna my main thing is I wanna be able to break artists because I just feel like, again, going back to what T-Ron said, it's like I feel like I'm good. I feel like my team that I like all the greats that are around me, we're good. So let's really show that. So over the next 5 to 10 years, I wanna be able to say like, "Hey, this is an artist that we invested in, and this is somebody that now is a household name, and now just our conglomerate is just like everywhere, you know what I'm saying? I'm always big on expand the brand. So I want people to see more of what I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? And just in the studio, just kind of showing people more of that because I'm like, I'm really like stupid fun. Like and like even just working in the studio and stuff, like I really have fun all the time. So just kind of wanting people to see a little bit more into what I do and what we do collectively. I mean, of course, you know, the accolades. Sure, you want to win a Grammy. Sure, you want to, you know, do things of that nature. But what I really hope to do is to like show people it's possible to do great things by being a great person and also believing and investing in yourself. Like I'm always investing in my gear into anything related to me being able to, you know, make music for whoever that I'm working with. I mean, I think something it's small, but I think I'm gonna do it over the next 5 to 10 years for sure. Imma sign a publishing deal too because I've worked my whole career and never did it, and it's been a blessing too because I'm still in all the same rooms But that's something I'll probably end up doing over the next few years. Link with a publisher and probably do an admin deal actually, not publisher. But that's a whole nother conversation. I think eventually I'll get into teaching a little bit too. Like not like on a school scale, but like I would love to have something where it's like I could bring, a handful of like high school students or something, bring them into a space and give them real gems and give them real game, put them in the room with real writers, real producers, things of that nature. Just kind of help them get a leg up on the industry that they want to be in. And honestly, that would be a perfect opportunity to teach the business stuff that I was kind of talking about before. It's like, yeah, you don't want to just read a book on it, but like, hey, just telling them like, hey, look out for this when you first start in your career. And that way, you leave the business in a better place than it was when you got it. You know what I'm saying?
Briefly, you mentioned earlier about sync, and a lot of producers do want to get into sync and get a music license on television shows and films. So, how would you advise producers on getting into sync?
Sync is definitely a relationship thing. At least I can say for myself. I know there's like several platforms and stuff to kind of get you into it. Every sync situation that I've had has come through relationship. Like when I first moved to Atlanta in 2012, met this rapper and we was working on music and stuff all the time. Super cool, you know what I'm saying? But then I moved back to Nashville and we just kept in touch over time. And when we reconnected, he was like, "Yo, I still rap," but he was like, "Yo, I just got a position at." I'm not gonna say the company actually, but he got a position somewhere. Basically, he was like, "Hey, like I'm responsible for this show, and this show. Like, if you got some music you want to submit, let me know." Send him some records. They loved them. Boom, boom, boom. When I was working with BET, it was through a writer that I was already working with. They got some records on BET, so same thing. Boom, boom, boom. And then what's crazy? The Apple situation, they found us. So I think that's probably the most hidden part of doing sync stuff that I think people don't take advantage of. Put the music out. Just put the music out, bro. Because once the music is out, it's available for people to pick up. Like they found a song that was like 15, 16 years old and it fit the model for what they did and they cut us 6 figures to do it. You know what I'm saying? So put the music out and I mean, of course you still need to try and, get it in the right hands, but it's a lot easier for them to find your music on Spotify, Apple Music, or something, and somebody's looking for something specific, and make the music intentionally. Like, if you know that you want to make a song that's gonna be on a football game, like you should have songs that fit what that sounds like, and put those out. So that way, when it's time to shop it, boom, you right there. You know what I'm saying?
Now, OG, what projects do you have coming up that the people should be on the lookout for?
I got a project with Elhae, Elhae, because I know sometimes people be mixing it up. But he has an album getting ready to come out soon. He's already started some of his rollout. I'm not gonna say the name because he hasn't said it yet, but y'all gonna see soon. So follow Elhae. I got a couple records on his album. Also, the R&B is Not Dead project with my brother Hero, the producer. That's really gonna be an incredible project. Super excited for everybody to check that out. Also got I got another record with a rap artist, and y'all just follow me on social media, OG3, and then that way y'all can see exactly what's going on. Because hey, like I said, I don't want it to be like, hey, he said he had a. I'm gonna just tell you what I know for sure.
Where can people reach you online as far as social media, websites, any type of products or services that you have?
Okay, yeah. I think the best place to reach me these days is Instagram because that's like my only social media I use. And they said OG3. I got TikTok too, but I don't be on there like that. I need to get on there more, but I don't be on there. So that would probably be the best bet. But yeah, if you need to reach me, hit me on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we always got something going on there.
Thank you so much for joining the Made in the Studio podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. The only way we can continue this podcast is if I know that you enjoy the podcast and it can continue to grow. OG3, thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much for joining once again.
Problem.
Absolutely. You have a great rest of your day, man. Thank you so much.
You too, bro.
Thanks. All right. Take care. Peace.